guys, my name is Peter Kent. I'm a violinist and a doctorate student at Michigan State University. Go green. I will be doing some videos on violin technique. I've been hearing a lot from my friends and colleagues in various orchestras and groups that I play in, that despite the amount of how-to videos out there on the web, not many of them address the basics in a solid, fundamental way. That is what I hope to achieve in these videos, a good, solid, fundamental approach to the basics. Now, I'm not saying that the how-to videos that I just mentioned are a bad resource at all. In fact, I highly encourage you to find as many of them as you can, since they are all valuable resources in one way or another, especially if you are teaching yourself or if you are trying to get a better grasp of your own art. So I hope you stick around and like the content. I'll be posting a lot of content, a lot of videos, so there will be plenty to enjoy and or critique, depending on what you feel about it one way or another. So feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I welcome all kinds of feedback. The subject of today's video is basic violin posture, how to get a good approach to your physical setup. So without further ado, here we go. The key to shoulder setup is you do not want to be tense at all. If you're performing and your shoulders look like that, or any variant of this, straight or out like that, you're tense. They need to come down. You need to look like, you need to be in the posture of sitting or standing. You don't want to sit like this. You don't want to stand like this. You'll look like you want to run out of the room. We don't want that. We want to be relaxed. We want the audience to be relaxed. So drop the shoulders. You don't have to physically push them down, because then that causes other problems like that, which we'll talk about in a second. It's basically the same posture as if you're sitting. When you're sitting, it's like this. Not much different. Only difference is that there's a piece of wood on your shoulder. One of the best remedies while you're playing for loosening up the shoulders, untensing the shoulders, is to just breathe. It's probably the #1 remedy while you're performing and playing. And not just not that type of breath. That's gonna tense you up and scare the living daylights out of you. Believe me, I've done it. But you want to do a controlled breath, like, I mean, not as deep or as audible as that. I'm exaggerating for instruction purposes. But you want it to be controlled, you want it to fill your lungs, and you want it to come out controlled. So it comes in and out controlled. When you breathe, breathe from here. So it's a conscious act to breathe from here. You don't want your shoulders to move. A lot of people, when we breathe, shoulders come up. So make a conscious effort to breathe from here. So the next part we're going to talk about is left arm angle. This may sound a little redundant, but it's important. We need to talk about it. Now, there's a couple different schools of thought on this, and they depend on if you're playing with or without a shoulder rest. I play without. It's much better for my personal posture. It's actually much better for posture in general, but that's the subject of another video at a later time. For right now, we're just talking about arm angle. So, if you're playing with a shoulder rest, the arm kind of sits like this. Kind of either straight down or pointed a little bit away from your body. So anywhere between this 0 to 15 degree angle. Roughly. Scientists, you don't have to check me out on that. So, anywhere in that, if you have a shoulder rest. Now, if you don't have a shoulder rest, I want to bring the arm more underneath. Gives the violin a little more support this way, and gives a little more power to the shifts and how far your fingers can stretch. So, since mine doesn't have a shoulder, I don't play with a shoulder rest, my arm has to come underneath more. And it helps my shifting a lot if I bring the arm underneath. If I play with the arm out like this, It's kind of sloppy. My hand doesn't want to do it, but if I... Shifts are much cleaner. This next part we're going to talk about is a little exercise I like to call back straightening. And what it is just getting the base of your back put against the wall and just rolling it up. So it's all it is just, let's say this is the wall, and my knuckle here is the base of the back. Just roll the whole back all the way up like that. Your head's going to be the last thing to touch. Base of your back goes against the wall. Roll it all the way up, and the last thing to touch the wall is the back of your head. Shoulders don't have to touch the wall. Straightens the back out entirely. It loosens all the muscles up here. It makes you stand taller, makes you feel taller, makes you look taller. And when you're done with that part, and when you're done straightening up your back and you go to playing, you feel like $1,000,000. You feel so much better because you're relaxed. The muscles are straightened out and relaxed. That's the importance of that exercise. So you can do that for about 30 seconds to 1 minute every day if you want. This whole next section is dedicated to bow posture. We're going to talk mainly about the bow hold right now, and I'm going to talk about the Russian bow hold because that's what I've been trained in all my life. I had some American influences, but the majority of my time has been with the Russian bow hold, and it's a good one. So, when we're talking about a bow hold, we want it to be really relaxed. Not everything has to be touching all the time. No, the American and Oriental bow holds, they like to have everything, especially these two fingers, touching all the time. Whether you're at the tip or you're at the frog. None of the fingers come off. See, it's really difficult for me to do that, the American bow hold now, because I've studied the Russian for so long. I automatically go to the Russian. Now, what the Russian bow hold does is it allows for much more flexibility here. Like if you're at the tip, the hand curves, well, turns, and these fingers are able to come off. It allows for a lot more flexibility when you're playing. If I kept my fingers on, it would be a lot more tense, especially this finger. But since I'm able to turn it, this is all really relaxed. And I still have control. It's an acquired talent, like anything else. Now, in order to help with finger flexibility and getting your hand really loosened up, especially this hand, we'll be talking about the left hand in another video. There's a little exercise I teach my students that I call the finger tap. And there's another one right after it called the handshake. We'll get to that in a second, but we'll just talk briefly about the finger tap. So what the finger tap is you just tap one finger at a time. Takes a little bit, and it will feel weird, especially with this finger, because this finger doesn't have its own muscle. It's tied to these other two fingers, which is why they want to move every time. So, finger tap. Now this builds up a lot of independence with the fingers. There's another exercise much later on that's much more involved. But we'll talk about that in another video. But that's the finger tap exercise. The handshake exercise helps with loosening up tension in the hand. So what I just did, that's the handshake exercise. You can shake it out, bring it back. If your hand still feels tense, shake it out again. If it still feels tense, there's another option we can do. So for this other option, just take your thumb off, keep the other fingers on, and just kind of wobble. And keep as much contact on the bow with the fingers as possible. And just let the whole wrist kind of wobble. This should help clear up a lot of tension. A lot of tension. And you can bring your thumb back. Your hand is golden. Alright guys, that was our video. I hope you really enjoyed it, because I did. It's really fun for me to talk about this stuff, and I hope you learned something. If not, I hope your interest was at least piqued to go and look up more of this stuff. Because this is really good stuff. It's really basic stuff. It really helps out. So yeah, if you feel so inclined, leave a like, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever you like with the video. And yeah, I will be seeing you all next time, and thank you for watching.